Masechet Avodah Zarah Daf Ayin Vav. We're continuing from Ayin He Amud Bet, the last short line. Ibadu asked the question, Mashkanta Mai, what's the halacha regarding a collateral? If a utensil was used as collateral for a loan. He said one time a goy gave him a silver cup as a collateral to my father Ravashi. But believe he dipped it and drank from it. I don't know why he dipped it. Whether he held it a collateral Kizvinitam is like considered like it was sold, that's why he dipped it first. Or it looks like maybe he the goy had intentions that he ain't picking this collateral up and therefore he wanted Rashi to keep it, and that's why he dipped it. Okay, so we don't know. Tumran. Okay, Katashmish min Rechaim is one bought food utensils from a goy. The very Mishlun Shibrahan, if something that was not used yet, Matlan, you dip him, then Turin, they're good to go. The very Mishlun I did tonight if it was cold products, food products, Keon, Kosot, because you know, so like for example, cups, ladles for drinks, and flasks. Midiham bin Turin, you wash them, dip them in mikveh, good to go. דברים שנשתמש בהן על ידי חמין, if it was a hot liquid used for it, כגון חיירות הכוסים והחמין, pots, kettles, and urns, מהרעילה למטללים והנטרים, you do hot liquid on them. The hot water, dip in mikveh, good to go. דברים שיש בהן על ידי העור, if you something used fire, כגון השפוטים והסבלות, like spits for a grill and the grill itself, מלבנן מטבילים והנטרים, you use fire to purge it, and then you dip in mikveh and they're good to go. All these things that were used. Ad built before it was dipped. Before Hagalah. Before you did burning. Tanai Hada Asur, one opinion says Asur, that if you cooked with it. Another opinion says Mutar. La Kashan is not Asira. Ha Kiman Damar Nutin Dam of Gam Asur. The first part that says that it's Asur is according to the opinion that says that if something is Asur, even if it adds bad flavor, it's still the food is still Asur. The Hakiman Damar, the Tentam, the only opinion says it's mutar, is according to the opinion says that if the Asur item adds bad flavor, it is mutar. Uman Damar, the Tentam, the Gam mutar, according to the opinion says it's mutar. Geule Od Chavim, the Asar Chuna, when the Torah says that you should not use the vessels of a goy because it leaves a flavor over. What would be the case? If it's considered bad flavoring and therefore bad flavoring mutar, what would be the case to the Torah that you have to do this process? Where it says it's right referring to the case, Batuma Amur Aleph, is where the food was used that day. Because since it's that day, it's not going to give over bad flavor. The guy just cooked bacon with it 2 hours ago. It's going to give you some good salt for your food. That's not bad flavor. That would be a case that you have to burn it. Okay. So, okay, that's the case. Then if you're buying an item from a goy after X amount of time, you should automatically be able to use it. You don't have to dip it at all. Where it says, "Gezerah kederabat she'en batima mishum kederabat ma'ana," it's a decree. We let you do that. You might come to use a vessel that was used recently by a goy. Therefore, we want you to do it automatically. B'idach, according to the other opinion, it says that a bad flavor is still asur on the food. Kederabat nami mifkam pagla. He holds that a pot used that day also gives bad flavor. Okay. I'm had a question. Because Tan our Mishnah said or you burn the spit and the grills from a goy. Vatanan gabe kochim, but regarding kochim, it says hashapud v'haskela megayin behamid. The spit in the grill that was used for roasting a korban. In order to reuse those items, you first have to burn them in hot water to seemingly get rid of the flavor. Remember I said before using it for another korban. So you only have one korban that a kohen can eat and one korban that a Jew can eat or Yisrael can eat rather, then you should burn it in hot water so the flavoring that's only mutar for a goy doesn't go into the Yisrael. But we see hot water is good enough. You don't have to use a fire. The Gemara says, "Amar Bri." He said, "Amar my son, ma'ayan kodashim ella esed v'lo." Why are you comparing kodashim to Avodah Zarah, korbanot Avodah Zarah? Hacha hetera bala. In regarding to the utensil for a kodashim. It wasn't an Isur item, it was just something that he can't have. It's a mutar item that was absorbed. Therefore, it's good enough with hot water. Hatam Yisrael, regarding the utensil for a goy, he absorbed the non-kosher stuff. Amar Rava said, Sof ki kapalit. 1 second. Yisra kapalit, who cares? If I can't eat that korban, it's absorbed in this utensil. I'm a Yisrael. I'm a Yisrael. then at the same time, then I don't care. It should still be asur for me. I have to burn it to get rid of it. It's absorbing and giving out a forbidden flavor for me. Elam Rabba says, you know why? My hagala nami was mean that hagala shetifa ben mikaz referring to scouring and rinsing the in very strongly. My bad. Says midami. 1 second. Is that is that comparable? That's not the same thing. Medika shtifa b'sonim. When you scour and rinse with ash and water, that's cold water. Hagala b'hamina and hagala is hot water. Ela marbaya yagid el avreo. Rabbi says an answer that he uses throughout Shas. Rava never likes this answer. He says, you want to know why the Mishnah didn't mention the full halacha? Is because one Mishnah will mention partial of the halacha, and you can learn it from the second Mishnah. Meaning, Tana hachalibun. Our Braita Mishnah mentioned over here regarding the goy, you have to burn it. Vuhu hadin hagalah, the same thing also applies with hagalah. Tana hatam hagalah, the other Mishnah mentioned by Kochim that you have to do hagalah, vuhu hadin libun, you also need to do libun, you also have to burn it. Now, Amal Rava says, 1 second, Ilahi, litinin lekulu b'hada v'lete hada be'ida hariti v'lema yagida vreo. He said, I don't like that. Yagida vreo means let one reveal on the other. But in order for one to reveal on the other, it can't be partial. Meaning, if you want to teach me that they both need burning and hot water, you can't say, okay, one Mishnah writes hot water, one Mishnah writes fire, and then we combine them. That doesn't make sense. Rava says it has to be one Mishnah should have written fire and hot water, and one Mishnah only writes hot water, and we say Yagid alabre oh that first Mishnah teaches you and reveals to us that the second Mishnah means both as well. Therefore, he has to give a different answer. Rava says Kodashim Hainu Tamar, the reason why Kodashim you don't need to do libun, you don't have to fire it up. For the following reason. Every day they use the utensil since it's used so often, any absorption that happened is automatically coming out from the next korban. Doesn't become masur. Now the Gemara says, okay, tenach shlamim, that makes sense for shlamim. Because why? The kevan delishne yamim mitachli, because since they shlamim is mutar for 2 days, before the flavor inside the pots and utensils becomes notar, which means left over past 2 days, they're reusing it already. So yani, what's the expiration date before it becomes notar, before it becomes asur, is 2 days, but it happens every day. So it never gets to that point. El hatat, but a kuban hatat that is used for utensil. Kevan d'liyom layla b'tachla, since it has to be eaten within 24 hours. Ki mavashel b'ha'idna hatat have notar. When you're using it the next time, it could be notar. The problem is that if you're going to use this item tomorrow, then it's going to have the flavor from the previous hatat because it doesn't happen so often, and that's the isur. So you can't tell me that it's never a problem. Versus la tzricha. You want to know why Haggalah is good enough without Leibun, even if it's this case? Dechni bashal ba hatat da'idna, when you're cooking the hatat now, hadar mibashal ba ha'idna al-shlamim, you're going to cook a shlamim at the same time. The hatat marhal shlamim da'etmo, so that the hatat of tomorrow, yani the second day, and the shlamim the previous day, bahad hadad de kashlim zmanayo, they hit their deadline of 2 days at the same time. V'hadar mibashal shlamim bahar, then you cook again. Meaning, I have shlamim on Sunday, hatat on Monday, shlamim on Tuesday, and therefore it's constantly rotating. And there's no 2 days of shlamim notar, and there's no full 1 day hatat. Whereas that's the case, if it never gets absorbed, it always gets purged out, then why you do hagalah in the first place? The Gemara says, "Hai karid, hai lakarid." The by a goy, the absorption hardens. By kochim, it doesn't harden because it's always being used. Therefore, you need hagalah. Um, yeah, and therefore hagalah is good enough. Okay, and that's why by goy, since it hardens, isn't not cooking meat every 5 hours. That's why you need fire. Rashi Mar says, "Le'olam kedamrin meikra," really, uh, we could give a better answer. Hacha hetira balad, that we said earlier. One that's different. You don't need fire for kachim because it's a mutar item versus hacha isur bala versus a goy. It's isur items. Udkakashlach, and you asked me before. Dibaidin the kapali the isur bala. Why does that make a difference if you're if there's isur flavoring of the hatat, for example, coming out, then it's a problem. Or the kohen stuff. Where it says be'idna de kapalid la ite be'isura beine. It's not a problem because at the time where it's coming out, there's no isur that's there. There's no actual isur substantially there. Where it says ba'ad kamal labin, how long do you have to burn it on fire? Amar b'mani ad shtashir kibatan, until the layer is removed. Shami says that means you have to heat it so hot that its sparks start flying, but it means that the outer layer has to be completely burnt off. Because Maglan Haidu Hagala Maravuna Yorektana Betoch Yoragdula, you put a small pot that needs to be hagalad, you put it into a large pot of boiling water. Okay, Yoragdula Mai, what do you do with a large pot that needs to be boiled and you can't put it anywhere? Marsha's Tashmar being a story. The Dad, the Habit of Beit Akbet, there was a massive cauldron that was in Rabbi Akavia's house that needed to Hagala. Hadar Le'et, so what do? He put around the lip of the cauldron, Amud Bet, Gedafman Delisha Apama, he put a rim of like a dough. So he put a dough rim around the lip of the cauldron. Umalu Hamiyah Arteicha, then he filled the cauldron with hot water and boiled it. So that the whole water of the cauldron did Hagala in itself. And then the top of the lip where the food went was the water kept going there and was held in check by the dough to make sure that it boiled the rim. Mara Baba said, Man Hakim Lemeded Ki Hamilta, who's so smart to do this? And it was a great idea. He loved Rabbi Akiva, but not for Rabbi Akiva, he's such a genius. Because he said, you know what, the same way the stuff gets absorbed by the rim of the cauldron by pouring stuff. On, it's just like the rim of the cauldron but got stuff on it by stuff spilling out. So it's over here. So too, he also expelled the Isur stuff getting from that was absorbed by putting the hot boiling water spilling on the top. Next, Hasakin Shafa Torah. Regarding the knife, you scrape it and you purify it. He says you also take the knife afterward and you stab it into the ground 10 times so that it purifies it. Or you could do either or. That's only talking about a land that was not worked on. It has to be hard ground that will really take off residue. Amar Kahana, it's also talking about a case where the knife doesn't have any nicks on it, so that it gets purely all the stuff comes off. Time Achibet says, well, sakin yafash in bagumot, a knife that doesn't have blemishes on it. No, you can stick it in the ground 10 times to take off any absorptions. We'll stay the rest of the siyum. Amen, amen.